Hi, everyone. I am Betsey Luipold. I am soon to be a 10-year aortic dissection survivor. And on September 13th of 2010, mid-afternoon is when my life changed forever. After my local hospital trip for what I thought was anxiety, I had no pain. What I had was a little bit of dizziness, lightheadedness, and a small area of jaw pain, followed by, after probably an hour or so in the emergency room, of arm numbness. After about 6 hours in the emergency room, at my local emergency room, they discovered through my D-dimer that I needed to have a CT, and upon having the CT, they realized I was dissecting and I was life flighted to the Cleveland Clinic for emergency open heart. I spent 5 days at the Cleveland Clinic, and I was sent home to recover, not knowing what I had just survived. And I really didn't go and try to find out what I had survived right away. Um, a few months later, I found Aortic, and I learned about my condition and bonded with a group, um, and decided to join as a board member and taking on the role of social media. And then this past year, I did join the working group of Think Aorta US. Why? Because it's imperative that we as survivors get this information to doctors and local hospitals and let them know that they need to get us into testing quickly, because time is of the essence. With my outcome could have been a lot different based on the amount of time it took for them to realize what was going on. 10 years. Um, Lots of additions to our family. I lost my brother. I've witnessed my daughters graduate high school and college. I've watched a daughter get married, one soon to get married, um, and witnessed my daughter give birth to our first grandchild, my grandson. Um, what can what can I tell you? In 10 years, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, and I'm so thankful for my family, um, the nurses, the doctors, the people that put the time in, um, to recognize that this is a serious condition and that we do need to get the information out with Think Aorta. I've traveled. I've been to Mexico. Last year I went to London, um, to bring the campaign of Think Aorta US to, um, over to the United States. I've been to Louisiana. I have been to uh, Baltimore several times. I'm excited to see my children, get married. I got to see my great niece Kendall go to her first day of kindergarten. Things that, had the outcome been different, I wouldn't be here, but I am, and I'm trying to learn to cope with the illness that we have and how life can change in an instant. Um, I want to thank my family, my friends, Aortic Hope, and Think Aorta US for supporting us on our cause. I love you all. Um, and I'd like to introduce my youngest daughter.
Hi, I'm Kristen Koshutnik. I am 25 years old, so I was about 15 years old when my mom dissected. I don't think I really, at the time, knew like the gravity of that situation. I just remember going to my friend's house after school, getting a call that my mom was in the ED, and I think she actually had told me, I'm fine. I thought I had an anxiety attack. They're running some tests, but I'll still be there to pick you up in a couple hours. Just stay at your friend's in the meantime. And then probably a half an hour later, I got another call from my cousin saying, your mom's being life flighted to the Cleveland Clinic for open heart surgery. You need to get here as fast as you can. And I in that 30 minutes, I think everything changed. I mean, no one thought that it was that serious or that just one scan could mean life or death. So now 10 years later, I work as a nurse at the Cleveland Clinic. I work in the cardiovascular department. After my mom's dissection, I knew that I wanted to work in healthcare, and I felt like nursing was the best fit for me. So I went to Cleveland State and studied nursing there, and I knew I wanted to be at the Cleveland Clinic. So I had my clinical experience there, and that's where I ended up getting my job, where I work now. So I really like working in the cardiovascular side of things there. I feel like I'm able to use a situation that is a negative situation for, our family. It's a huge stressor on my mom and, obviously a lifelong diagnosis, but I can use that to empathize with my patients and hopefully help them to have as good of an outcome as that she was able to have. And when I, notice that patients are struggling, and we do actually get quite a few aortic dissection patients, I will reach out to them and give them an aortic hope card and let them know about my mom, and that if they want to reach out to her, they can, and just kind of give them the same amount of hope that I know she was able to find through this group. And maybe it can make a difference in their lives the way that it's made a difference in hers.
I'm going to ask you, at 15, what did you think? What was your feelings on having to say goodbye to me?
It was probably the hardest thing I've had to do. I mean, obviously, no one wants to be told that they have to say goodbye to their best friend, their mom, their family member, their biggest supporter. But I feel like um, it's just made like our relationship stronger, knowing that time is limited and that you don't always have that guarantee that someone's going to be there. I think people take their family for granted, and I think it's taught me to not do that. But that was definitely very hard. I even remember after her surgery and after that situation, um, guidance counselors, teachers, the principal, everybody knew, and everybody reaching out to me to make sure that I was okay, which I thought, well, why are you worried about me? We should be worried about my mom. But I don't think I realized at the time the like a huge emotional impact that would have for the rest of my life, going through something like that at a young age. And I don't think it was until I was in college and we actually learned in nursing about aortic dissections, and they gave me the statistics of how likely it is for someone to survive one. And it's not a very high statistic. It's not a very high number of people that make it through the aortic dissection. And I think that was what really hit me and was like, wow, this is a huge deal.
So, me, 10 years later, I have learned that every day is a gift, and you do not take your family, your friends, your life for granted, because you just don't know. When I walked in that morning, I didn't know. I had no clue. And even to the point when they had already told me that they called in Life Flight to come get me, I thought it was a joke. I was talking, I was laughing with family members. I was like, this isn't possible. I'm not sick. You guys don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't until I got to the Cleveland Clinic that when I saw a team of like 20 doctors and nurses and surgical people approaching me and saying, this is going to go really quick. And I didn't realize until that point that I might not ever get to see my daughters get married and my daughters graduate, and that it's had a huge impact on who I am as a person today. There are days that I will tell you, and I'm sure every one of you guys feel the same way. You don't want to get out of bed. You hurt, you don't feel right, you don't feel good, but you work through it, you try to get out and do what you can, and you continue on with the life that you can have. For me, I've chosen to, um, take on aortic hope and think aorta and push to get this um, condition known in, so it doesn't have a bad impact on families. When I hear of a bad impact that someone lost a loved one, I just am beside myself, because it doesn't have to be that way. We can get the information out there and let them know that, you know if they feel something different. In my case, I didn't have the pain. Like I said, I thought it was anxiety. Um, we just need to get more information to the hospitals, to the doctors, to let them know, to help save other people. So with that, I'm going to ask you. Um, I know our local hospital has the Think Aorta campaign on it, in their emergency room. Not, I'm pretty sure the Cleveland Clinic does also, and our local um, fire department has it in their area. What would you say? We're trying to get information out to people. Like, I have it on my car, like on my seatbelt, that says, if I'm ever in an accident, inside there, it tells about my aortic dissection. It also tells about my other medical conditions that I have. I'm a thyroid cancer survivor, and I officially diagnosed with mild MS as of Friday. So, what would you tell people about getting the information into hospitals or to doctors, or in your case, like you hand a patient the Aortic Hope card to help them along?
I think the biggest thing is starting at the emergency departments. It's information that we know as healthcare providers. It's something we're all trained on. We're all taught. We know the disease process of the aortic dissection. Um, I just think that, especially in the emergency department, you get a patient come in with any number of symptoms, and you have X amount of time to try to find a diagnosis, and you tend to get into a routine of running the same tests and thinking of the same major problems. Is this a stroke? Is this a heart attack? Well, if it doesn't fit those profiles, what could it be? If it's not one of those things, do we just send a patient away and say you're fine? Or maybe it's anxiety, or maybe we don't know, but we'll keep monitoring you. But that can be life or death that time. So just really getting out there that there are certain signs and symptoms to look for, and that the biggest thing that you can do is get the CT scan. Just do the CT scan just to be sure that there's nothing there, because that can be life or death. And I think that education can go a long way with emergency departments, just healthcare providers in general. I know the Cleveland Clinic has had a couple conferences with a lot of the cardiothoracic surgeons where they discuss just diseases of the aorta. And they are able to talk about, case studies and spread awareness and different situations they've come across in their own practice, where they um, kind of discuss the signs that you should be looking for and kind of just spread that awareness. So I think things like that, maybe at a larger scope, would be helpful. And then just, any healthcare provider just being aware that this is a possible diagnosis for anyone coming in through the ED, and that it needs to be ruled out.
I agree. I think education is key. So I'm going to ask you, with me marking my 10-year, I see my future is unlimited. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. I'm a warrior. I'm not giving up. Um, I will fight till the end to raise awareness, to be here for her, my grandson, my other daughter, my husband, our family, friends. Um, what do you think about the future for me?
I don't see that there's any reason that you won't be there when I get married, when I have kids, as our families expand. I mean, you've made it this far and you've been through more obstacles than most people should ever have to experience in a whole lifetime. But you continue to be strong and fight. And I think just the biggest motivator for her is that she wants to be here for those things. And if you have that drive, you will be here. But as soon as you lose hope and you give up that, motivation, I mean, that's just going to become your life where you're depressed and sad and you kind of let it consume you. But you've taken a situation that most people would let consume their life and turn it into a really negative. You turned it into a positive, and you've gained friends and basically a whole new family through Aortic Hope and all these new opportunities for travel and experiences and getting to share your story with others and getting to spread the awareness for the disease, where most people wouldn't take a situation like that and turn it into a positive.
I have to agree on all of that. My biggest thing has been since probably a week being home from having my surgery was that it was my husband was on the road and it was me. It was I had to recover with my two daughters by my side, but it was me, the one that had to do the recovery, and I had to be strong enough not only not to let them see what I had just been through, but I remember telling Kristen, her freshman year, if you make varsity cheer, I plan on being at every game. And then my dissection happened, and she made varsity, and I couldn't go. And I felt like the biggest failure because I had said that, but I took that as a positive, and I was determined that as soon as I could and I felt better, that I was going to make it to games that year. And I did. I made it up the first couple steps to the stadium, and I sat there, and I remember people coming up to me shocked that I was sitting there. And from that point on, I think I've had this drive that has said that you can't just lay in bed and let this overtake your life. I wanted to do more with my life, and I want to be here for my family and my friends. So, with that, I am proud to say that I am a 10-year aortic dissection survivor. I'm proud to be with my daughter and doing this video, and proud to be um, be around and making an impact in the aortic community. And I love you all. Thank you.